Good afternoon, parents. Apologies for the delay. We'll start the event shortly. Thank you for your patience, dear parents and students. Good afternoon to all the parents once again and students sitting here, and also to all our parents who are with us online right now. We at WSS welcome you all for the IGCSE Options Event 2024. The purpose of this meeting is to make you and your child ready for the future, as our Year 9 students will soon expand their academic knowledge and step into Key Stage 4 by the end of this academic year. The transition from Key Stage 3 to Key Stage 4 is an important, challenging, and yet exciting time, as for the first time in your education, you can choose where and what to study. But before we go into further details, may I request you all to stand up for the national anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. Now let us listen to beautiful Quran recitation by Tamim Hijazi of Year 12.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Thank you, Tamim. Now I would request our Vice Principal, Mr. Shujahat Munir, to commence the program by the welcome speech.
Assalamu alaikum. Afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming here. It means a lot, both to us and your children. I think this is extremely important because we all would agree that education is a key to success. Right? It opens up doors, it opens up opportunities, but do our students understand what it is that they want to achieve? Do they know what subjects they want to do? Are they actually going to pick every single difficult subject out there that they can possibly do? But what happens in AS level and A level? How many subjects will they actually need to choose? So do they need to pick 7, 8 different difficult subjects? This is stuff that we will be sharing with you today. It's interesting to understand how education changes over time. So stuff that was acceptable during my time might not be something that we would do now, right? So in my time, my father's like, you are doing English, maths, definitely, but you're doing chemistry, physics, biology, you're doing computing. And I told him, I still remember, I used to do design technology, So in design technology, you make things out of woodwork. So you make like cabinets and stuff. And he said, are you going to be a carpenter? I said, no, Dad, that's not what I want to do. I enjoy this subject. So a lot of our students, they choose subjects that they actually enjoy, which is extremely important. They focus on 4 or 5 subjects, and they have at least one subject which they enjoy, which is great. So these are things that we must consider, both as parents and as students. What do we enjoy, and where is it that we want to be? So I think without cutting into things that Miss Anisha and stuff will cover, we talk about like backward planning. Where is it that we see ourselves? And every country that we want to study in has different criteria. If you want to go to the US, Europe, you want to study in the UAE, and recently we've had parents, for example, from Egypt, okay, in terms of the grading system, which one do they prefer? All these are conversations that we need to have with our parents and with our students. So today we'll hopefully give you a better insight into a lot of these questions that you will have. So I hope you enjoy today. I hope it's a little bit informative. And at the end, if you do have questions, we will be around. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Shujahat. Education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. And on this note, let us look at the requirements by Ministry of Education to graduate in 2024-25 and beyond. For this, I would request the Secondary Assistant Principal, Mr. Alfred Franklin, to talk about the MOE requirements.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming, and thanks for joining us online if you couldn't make it here. What I'm going to discuss here is about the equalization that every student need to get when they are planning to continue their studies either in UAE or, as Mr. Sujahat already mentioned, that there are different countries they may travel to, but in any country they go, there could be a possible document they will ask whether your local education authority agreed upon your qualification and equalized it. So this is what is the requirement of the government to equalize your certificate. So as you are sitting for IGCSE option, so when your child finishes year 11, the government is looking at students taking 5 IGCSE subjects with a passing grade of A star to E, and in these 5 subjects they are not including Arabic and Islamic and UAE social studies. So apart from that 3 subjects which I just mentioned, there are 5 subjects they need to get A star to E as passing grade. And as the children proceed further, when they finish their grade 12 or year 13, what we call it here, they will be going into a study called AS and A level. If the students are doing AS level, then the requirement is 2 AS level subjects with a passing grade of A star to D, and if it is A level, 1 A level subject with a passing grade of A star to D. But about your AS and A level, that comes after IGCSE. So today's event is going to focus mainly on IGCSE. As we go through this presentation, when you see the subject options we have and how many subjects we offer, you will be able to connect what I just said, 5 IGCSE subjects with A star to E as an equalization criteria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. That was informative. Now I would request our Secondary Assistant Principal, Ms. Shrija Nair, to take us through the subjects offered at WSS and help our parents and students in their selection path.
Thank you, Swati. Welcome, parents. Thank you for sparing an afternoon today with us. And welcome also to the parents who've joined us online. And thank you so much, students, for being here today. It tells us how important it is to understand the whole process for you. So we'll go through some basic facts before we actually go into the options that is given at WSS. IGCSE is taken over 100 countries. You must be aware it's a very popular curriculum taken across the world, one of the most popular curriculums in the world after, I guess, the American curriculum. In our school, our students are supposed to take 6 subjects. Now, IGCSE and British curriculum is a very flexible curriculum. We have students who take a large number of subjects based on their entry requirements in universities, and that varies from university to university, country to country. At WSS, we expect all students to do 6. SPIA, that is Sharjah Public Education Authority, Private Education Authority, expects us to promote students only when they complete 5 subjects, which is what Mr. Franklin just mentioned in the equivalency slide. So 5 is absolute mandation for you to complete equivalency. 6 is the expectation of WSS. However, there are students who pursue more than that on their own, privately. Ministry subjects is compulsory for all students, that is Arabic, Islamic for all students who follow Islam, and UAE social studies are mandatory MOE subjects. These 3 subjects are not counted in the 6 subjects I mentioned earlier. So you'll be studying 6 subjects of IGCSE offered by either Cambridge or any other board. We offer only Cambridge in IGCSE level, plus 3 ministry subjects is what would be taught to students. Group sizes of minimum 20 is expected to run an optional subject. So we'll be showing you the number of, we offer quite a few subjects here to students. A minimum of 20 students are expected to be there in a group for us to be running the subject. If we do not have at least 20 entries, we may be forced to close that subject. So students who are opting computer science, there is an option for children to study computer science. Children who opt for it will be writing an assessment, and in that assessment, because it requires specific computational skills, we expect children to have a certain kind of knowledge before they step into it. Please be aware that we are teaching students computer science across Key Stage 3. However, there is a basic expectation that we expect students to have before they go into the IGCSE computer studies curriculum. Students are expected to score around 70% in the baseline assessment. If not, they will be requested to choose ICT, which is Information Communication Technology, or any other optional subject available along with it. All these exams are ultimately assessed externally by Cambridge, and Cambridge does have a charge for all these exams. The fees for these examinations, the details, would be shared to you when the student is in Year 11, before or after the first mock examination, and all the cost of these examinations will be shared by the examination department. Subject changes is something that we do not entertain, because once the student enter into a course, it becomes very difficult for the teachers to make up for those classes. It's a 2-year course, and teachers are actually planning each week to complete the curriculum with some built-in revision time towards the end. So we expect children to understand what the subjects are, take the subject, and if possible, stick on to that. IGCSE is also called 5th form, like the AS and A level is called 6th form. That's just another name to it, nothing much about it. A student who is completing IGCSE can further go on to study IB curriculum, and they can also pursue AS and A level in any of the British curriculum schools, also at WSS. Please be aware at this point that the automatic promotion of children from Year 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4 stops after Year 11. Children have to apply for Year 12 afresh. Fresh application are accepted in Year 12. It is not automatic promotion or automatic entry into Year 11, and the admission is subject to merit. The number of seats available in Year 12 and 13 are way lesser than the number of seats available in Year 11. So students who do perform well as per the IGCSE and sixth form expectations, which will be shared to you in course of time, are the ones who get selected for AS and A-level courses at WSS. So this is what we are here for today. Today is meant for understanding the options. So this document will be shared by the team to you on email after the meeting, just for you to understand how does these subjects run and how you are expected to make a selection tonight or in course of time. This is a first block, and here we have put in 4 subjects. Islamic, which is compulsory for all students who are following Islam, and then there is a PSHE for children who are not taking Islamic studies. Then we have Arabic, which is again a mandatory subject, UAE Social Studies, which is again a Ministry of Education subject. All of them are compulsory. Mathematics is also a compulsory subject. So the first three subjects are MOE subject. Mathematics is an IGCSE subject. Out of the 6 subjects, this is the first subject. This is not an option, this is mandatory. Block B is English. English is also a mandatory subject. However, you can choose between English as first language and second language. Now that's an option that the students have. However, our English department will be nudging you or recommending a particular course for you based on the students' aptitude that we have seen in school so far. You are welcome to follow our recommendations. However, the choice is totally yours. But one of the English subjects have to be chosen. So that will form the second subject of your IGCSE. From option block C, you're expected to choose 3 subjects, 3 of them. So you're choosing between physics or business studies, chemistry or economics, biology or accounting. I'm specifying on that or because a student cannot be choosing physics and business studies. A student can choose physics and economics, physics and accounting, or biology and economics and biology and business studies. However, the students will not be able to study physics and business studies together here because that's how the timetable works. So a child who is studying business studies is in a classroom. At the same time, the child who is studying physics is in another classroom, and these lessons generally run parallel. So you have to make your choices there. From the final block, you have to choose one subject. So we offer ICT, computer studies, sociology, geography, psychology, food and nutrition, Arabic is first language, and art and design here. Out of these subjects, you're expected to choose one subject. However, we request you to let us know which of the 3 subjects you would want to study amongst these with your order of preference. As in my first order of preference, I'll write 1 against it is, let's say, art and design, 2 food and nutrition, and 3 geography. Whatever is the order, we would want to know that. Just in case one particular course is not running due to lack of numbers, we close it, we know which is your second option. In such a case, all the students who have opted for the subject which is closing down will be contacted individually. For anybody who chooses computer science, as I mentioned earlier, will have to go through a pre-assessment. If the child does not qualify, child will be given the subject what they have opted for second. Please also be aware that these subjects have got a limited seat numbers, and if the seats are full as not opted before, we will have to request you to take the second preference. So please do very clearly mention what is your preference 1, 2 and 3. A team will get in touch with you in case you have opted for computer studies. So those were the blocks in options. We will be taking your any relevant questions at the end. We're all here. Thank you so much for the patient hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Shrija, for the detailed information on the forms. As Ms. Shrija mentioned, we will be sending the presentation along with the options form by the end of this meeting. Now let's call our extremely articulative student council members Abdul Aiz Khan and Tamim Hijazi of year 12 to talk about subjects in details. They will be focusing on the content of subjects and the assessment overview for each detail. Also, please note that if you want more information about the subjects, then you can visit the CIE website for the same.
Good afternoon. So the first course we have is First Language English. Subject code 0500. All candidates must appear for 2 papers. Paper 1 is reading and paper 2 is writing. Each paper has a duration of 2 hours and an equal weightage of 50%. Each paper also has 80 marks. Next, we have English as a second language, subject code 0511. All candidates are to appear for 3 components. Paper 1 is reading and writing, paper 2 is listening, and paper 3 is speaking. Paper 1 has a duration of 2 hours and a weightage of 50%, and paper 3 and is worth 60 marks, and paper 2 has a duration of 50 minutes, while paper 3 is allotted around 10 to 15 minutes as it's a speaking component. Both papers have a weightage of 25% and are worth 40 marks each.
Mathematics, subject code 0580. All candidates take 2 components, that is paper 2 and paper 4. Paper 2 is a non-calculator paper and paper 4 is the calculator paper. The duration of both papers is 2 hours. Both carry 100 marks each, and both papers have 50% weightage. Physics, for now, our science subjects. Physics, subject code 0625. Chemistry, subject code 0620. And biology, subject code 0610. Students learn about the basic principles of each of these respective sciences through a mix of theoretical and practical studies. All candidates must appear for 3 papers for each of the science subjects, that is paper 2, paper 4 and paper 6. Paper 2 is a multiple choice question paper. Duration of the paper is 45 minutes and has 30% weightage of the total available marks. Paper 4, on the other hand, is a theory paper and it has a duration of 1 hour and 15 minutes. This paper has 50% weightage of the total available marks. Paper 6 is an alternative to practical paper. Duration of the paper is 1 hour and this paper has 20% weightage of the total available marks.
Next, we have the commerce subjects. First is business studies, subject code 0450. All candidates will answer 2 papers. Paper 1 is composed of short answers and data response, and paper 2 is a case study. Both papers have a duration of 1 hour and 30 minutes and an equal weightage of 50% and 80 marks each. Next, economics with the subject code 0455. All candidates will be writing 2 papers. Paper 1 is multiple choice questions and paper 2 is structured questions. Paper 1 is allotted a duration of 45 minutes and carries a weightage of 30% and has 30 marks. Paper 2 has a duration of 2 hours and 15 minutes, carries a weightage of 70% and is worth 90 marks. Accounting, subject code 0452. All candidates appear for 2 papers. Paper 1 is multiple choice and paper 2 is structured questions. Paper 1 is 1 hour and 15 minutes and carries a weightage of 30% and has 35 marks. Paper 2 is 1 hour and 45 minutes and has a weightage of 70% and is worth 100 marks.
Art and design, subject code 0400. Students learn and apply a range of skills to produce art and design work. All candidates are graded in 2 ways, that is component 1 and component 2. Both the components carry 100 marks each and both components have a weightage of 50% each. Component 1 is about coursework and component 2 is an externally set assignment. Computer science, subject code 0478. All candidates have 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Duration of both papers is 1 hour and 45 minutes each. Both paper carries 75 marks and paper 1 is based on computer systems while paper 2 is based on algorithms, programming and logic.
Next, we have ICT, Information and Communication Technology, subject code 0417. All candidates are expected to appear for 3 components. Paper 1, Theory. Paper 2, Documents, Production, Database Presentations. And Component 3, Spreadsheets and Website of Authoring. Paper 1 has a duration of an hour and a half and carries a weightage of 40% and is worth 80 marks. Paper 2 and Component 3 are each 2 hours and 15 minutes long, and they carry a weightage of 30% and are 70 marks each. Food and Nutrition, subject code 0648. Food and Nutrition permits students to gain knowledge and develop practical skills in ways where they keep in mind factors such as personal health and family needs, their lifestyle, and how diet is directly linked to their personal health. Candidates appear for 2 compulsory components. Paper 1 is theory and paper 2 is practical. Paper 1 theory has a time of 2 hours, and for paper 2, candidates have a planning session of an hour and 30 minutes a week prior to the practical, and has a duration of 2 hours and 30 minutes. Both papers have an equal weightage of 50% and are worth 100 marks each.
Sociology, subject code 0495. Candidates appear for 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 carries 80 marks and the duration of the paper is 2 hours, including 15 minutes reading time. Paper 1 carries 54% weightage of the total available marks. On the other hand, paper 2 carries 70 marks and the duration of the paper is 1 hour and 45 minutes, including 15 minutes reading time. Paper 2 carries 46% weightage of the total available marks. GCSE Psychology, subject code 1PS0. Candidates appear for 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 carries 98 marks and has 55% weightage of the total available marks. Duration of this paper is 1 hour and 45 minutes. Paper 2 carries 79 marks and has 45% weightage. Duration of this paper is 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Now we have Geography, subject code 0460. One of the aims of this syllabus is to enable students to develop an understanding of location on a local, regional, and global scale. All candidates appear for 3 papers. Paper 1 is Geographical Themes. Paper 2 is Geographical Skills, and paper 4 is an alternative to coursework. Paper 1 has a time period of 1 hour and 45 minutes and has a weightage of 45% and 75 marks. Paper 2 and paper 4 each have a duration of 1 hour and a half and an equal weightage of 27.5% and 60 marks each. Next, we have Arabic as a first language. اللغة العربية كلغة أو اللغة العربية الأولى. في المدرسة بتوفر ال O level وال IG. ال O level الرمز تاعه 3180. 3180 ومتكون من ورقتين امتحان. أول ورقة واللي هي الكومبوزيشن أو الكتابة وعليها 45 علامة ومدة الامتحان ساعة ونص. والورقة الثانية هي الترجمة والتحليل الأدبي واللي عليها 55 علامة وساعة ونص مدتها. وللآي جي في البيبر 1 وبيبر 2. أول ورقة واللي هي القراءة وعليها 2 ساعة وكمان نفس الشيء الورقة الثانية واللي هي الكتابة اثنيناتهم عليهم 2 ساعة و50 علامة.
Thank you, Tamim. Thank you, Abdulais. A famous person once said, "To begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. As complex as it may sound, it's vital to overcome this milestone successfully. And to talk more about planning and helping you in taking decisions, I would like to call our school guidance counselor, Ms. Anisha, to talk more about backward planning."
Good evening, parents and students. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm here to talk about backward planning. Now, we've heard, maybe we know what it is, but not necessarily the term. Backward planning essentially means having a long-term goal and planning accordingly based on your short-term goals. For example, if you have a particular interest or a career that you would like to explore or a field of work in mind, then that is your end goal at this point. So you start planning for it backwards. So what is it that I have to do now to reach my future, right? So steps in that way can be divided into these. So the first point we discussed today is you need to define your goals. So your goal can be short-term goals and long-term goals. So a very simple example could be a simple schedule that you would be creating for yourself. So having your goals day to day, and then you have it weekly. So in a week, this is what I do. Maybe in a month, this is how I can progress. So you plan your academics as of now in such a way that you're able to perform well. Now this depends on your strengths and your areas that you need to work hard on, which means your weakness, right? We all have that. So, for example, if you are a morning person, let's say a subject that is really difficult for you, you can focus more on those because you start with a fresh mind. Take adequate breaks in between so that you can assimilate what you've learned. Again, work-life balance is something we all hear, right? So for students, it is your academics and your extracurriculars. Do things that you love. When you have a good schedule, a good timetable per se that you follow, that is when you will have things in place, rather than studying last minute and not being able to perform better, resulting in not performing well, grades going down, and then struggling altogether. Now here, we can also see your goals have to be SMART, which means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Know your strengths. Plan things that you can do and not aspire for something that probably is way out of your reach and then get disappointed. Have a good schedule for yourself, as in with your sleep, nutrition, and exercise or outdoor games of any form, because all of this may see, you may not have thought about it probably, but all of this contributes in the larger picture. Once you have a schedule in place, you start following it, you get organized, right? So these are the skills you plan right now. Another important thing is when you choose your IGCSE subjects, choose the ones that are your strengths, that you would like to explore. Do not delve into something knowing that you really do not want to, hate is a strong word, but you really dislike the subject, and that is not your strength, because then you end up struggling even more. Because as the years progress, your curriculum will also get harder, right? So your IGCSE year is the foundation for your AS and A-level subjects. So plan accordingly. If you have an area of career of interest, choose your subjects accordingly. If not, that is absolutely fine. Have a combination of subjects based on that. So you have your options open, right? So yes, we also have a very comprehensive platform that you will start using more actively in your IGCSE, especially AS and A-level years, which is Unifrog. It's a comprehensive platform for your career planning, university planning, and there's plenty on that. Right? So students, you are aware that I am in school, I'm in the TL room, so anytime you're most welcome to come and talk about it. If not, drop an email. We're more than happy to support you, parents as well. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Anisha. Now, our secondary assistant principals will take you through the requirements of additional subjects and the difference between A star to G and 9-to-1 grading system.
Good afternoon once again. I think you all remember earlier I was talking about the requirement of the government to equalize your certificate. Now, what we are going to look at here is some individual needs of certain students or from certain countries that they are going to have their university education. For getting certificate equalized, 5 subjects or 5 IGCSE subjects are enough in UAE Ministry of Education. but there are places that there may require more subjects in IGCSE along with their A levels. So for those students who need, this is for, based on needs basis, we give an option for them to do the additional subjects if they want to take 1 or 2 more or 3 more, do it as a self-study, and if that subject falls into the subject list that you have seen in the options form, which was discussed by Ms. Rija, then we give them an opportunity to write their IGCSE examination at WSS as a center after they finish their mock 1 examinations. If the subject is not taught at WSS, if you are choosing a subject which is outside the options that we have given, we still give you an opportunity to do the examinations, but by giving you a no objection certificate which you can take to British Council, and they will enroll you into their examination system. So then you will get the grade sheets from British Council to you, and the subjects you are taking at school, we will provide you the grade sheets. And in the before I stop, I just want to inform you, maybe you might have been informed, once again I want to reiterate that equalization is government requirement. But after you finish your year 11, if you are going to go into your ASA level studies, then there is a particular requirement that is strongly recommended by Cambridge, which we follow, that if you are going to choose a subject in your A-level program, which you have already studied in IGCSE, if your grades are between A star to C, then you will get chance to study that subject at WSS. If your grades are less than C, it is not possible to continue that particular subject at WSS, because Cambridge very strongly says if anyone is having a C, it is possible for them to face the challenges of A-level education. If it is below that, it is not possible for them to continue their A-level studies. So that is a very different one. This is from Cambridge for criteria for continuation of their A-level education. So please don't confuse between the government's requirement to equalize your certificate to the degrees or the grades that you need to continue your A-level education. So here when we look at our school's requirement to continue A star to C when they come into their A-level program. For IGCSE, it is going to be only 5 subjects. Of course, we offer 6, but 5 is necessary for the government, 6. If anyone wants to do more than 6, these are the 2 options we have. Yep. And yeah, we have this grading system, which there is a request. Mr. Suj slightly touched it. Ms. Rija will give you information about the system that we have offer.
Thank you, Franklin. This is the last bit of information I commend about the patience that all of you are showing. It's an afternoon. I'm sure all of you are very tired of the information that's being pushed across. Thank you so much for being patient with us. This is the last bit of information. There is a grading system that we have in Cambridge, which is A star to G. All of you are aware of it. In 2019, Cambridge has also introduced a grading system of 9 of numbers, wherein children can take a certificate which has grades in numbers, as in 9, 8, 7, 9 being the top and 1 being the least. There is no difference in either of the grading system, except that in some countries some is preferred, and some parents actually have requested us this year, and this is the first year we have introduced that at WSS. Just go back, Sanjalika, if you can. Just before I go, if you can just notice in the end a bit that the grading in the grading system, Even though children can take 91 as an option in their certificate, if the child intends to resit or redo, some of our students do redo the exams to improve their grades in October, November, and that series of exams, 9-to-1 grading system, does not exist. Child has to do it in A star to G. So we'll just go and see what the subjects are. These are the subjects in which 9-to-1 grading is available. This whole thing will be sent to you, so please, you do not have to worry about any information that you'll be missing out from the presentation. Now, English as the first language is the same. What the students had spoken about earlier. So the child will take English as first language, study the same subject, the same timetable, the same exam, the same day. However, the child can opt to take the grade from CIE as A star, A, B, C, or as 9, 8, 7. That is the only difference. So these are the subjects in which grading 9-to-1 is available currently, this year. Please be aware that this is likely to change every year, and by the time your children come into year 11, this might increase or change, and we will keep you updated. We will send all this information again along with the examination registration detail. So for example, now let's just specifically take one example and quickly move on. If the child wants English as first language and the grading that the child requires is 9-to-1, this is the code that the child needs to put in, 0990. However, if it is in A star to G, you have to put in the original code which the students discussed earlier. All the codes, all the details, as I mentioned earlier, will be sent again to you when you fill in the registration, and we will have one more session with the students if required. So what do the grades compare like? This is what the grades look like. So 9, 8, 7 are equivalent to A star and A. If you want to have a difference per se, 9 should be slightly better than A star. However, most universities consider both 9 and 8 as A star. So that's the only difference here. I want to bring your attention to the second paragraph that is mentioned in the side. If you could just see that. The awarding of A star to 9 are worked out in different ways. A star is based on the marks that students achieve, and the marks are published, the threshold is published every year. However, 9 is awarded to a percentage of students who score above grade 7. So it is awarded slightly differently, and hence the number of children who score A star in the world is more than number of children who score 9. Both of them, as I said earlier, are similar. It is just a different way of grading. Most of our students have taken A star to G, some of them have taken 9-to-1 depending upon what their university needs are. There is no difference at all in any curriculum, subject, lesson, exam, nothing. Just a choice of what you want to be featuring on your CIE certificate at the end of the exams. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Shrija. Thank you, Mr. Franklin. As they mentioned, this was the last set of information for today's event. However, now we will open the floor for any questions or doubts that you have, and our assistant principals of secondary section will help you resolve the queries.
Please raise your hand
Please raise your hand if you have a doubt, and we'll reach to you.
Starting by when is the exact time to choose, and if there is any chance to change later in after starting year 10 or later?
You will be given the options from today, and the deadline is deadline specified, 14th of March. 14th of March is when you're expected to hand in this document. We, as I said, generally do not expect children to change, because we start the lessons right from day one, and a change in between means teacher will not be teaching those chapters again. So we recommend that you make the choice, subject choices in the beginning, as much as possible. However, if there is a dire requirement, as in you made a mistake in terms of university requirement and you found out that the university needs a different subject, you can have a one-to-one conversation with the team and then we will enable that change.
Deadline this March
Yes, the coming March.
for the
14.
whole 3 years of IGC?
2 years.
For the whole course?
Yes, yeah.
And it's better not to change, as you said.
Yes, they lose learning later on. And you see, we work out the entire plan for the school, as in based on that, the child is given a section. Because if students take science subjects, there's a section. If the students take commerce subjects, they are in a different section. Their teachers are allocated, their books are allocated, their timetables are created. Everything depends upon the subject options. So we recommend that you don't change. However,
One last thing, this deadline is based on the school or
every school gives a deadline, and that is what is the base. There is no deadline that Cambridge gives. Cambridge only asks the school to submit the registration forms when the child is in year 11. So that is not a deadline at all. This is the school's deadline for further planning and section allocation.
The point that we all will be busy in this 2 weeks of examination at the end of the term. Also, it will be Ramadan time. It will be hard concentrating on choosing. It is critical. Also, Ramadan time. Also, exam of the final of this term. Yani a little bit consideration of extending this deadline will be helpful, I think, for all parents and students.
Thank you for that feedback. That's really useful. As I said, that why we are collecting it is that we need to work out the entire plan for the next academic year, including the number of students in a class, number of teachers. Sometimes a subject is higher in choice. We need to recruit more teachers. We need to order the books. The placement of books are done somewhere in the month of March. Everything depends upon these options. So we request you to make the best that you can do by then, so that we get an idea as to what is possibly your choice. If you require 1 or 2 changes, as I said, we can have a one-to-one meeting later and discuss about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. Can we go back to options which we saw, like option C in subjects? Yeah, here, if a student want to not to opt biology, so which other 3 subjects, out of which other 3 subjects he can take and he cannot take?
The only option here in this block is either biology or accounting. The other 2 subjects are not available if they are losing, so it is or. I think Ms. Reja must have earlier informed. In this block, either these 3 or these 3, or in that horizontal line, they can choose one or the other. We don't do the cross.
So they cannot be cross mixed.
They cannot, because the timetable, the whole school system runs on this. When the students are in physics, the students who didn't choose physics will be in business studies class. So that is how it is run. So it is not going to, cross.
So anyone who want to drop biology has to take accounting.
Yep, yes, that's the only option here. And the options, even though for you it may be, no problem. So even though you may think that these options are but these options are made after a lot of years of experience and research, and how it kind of helps the students to go further. So that is why the options form is made in such a way that the students will not be losing out anything. So these options are the best one. So that is where maybe a little different for some students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have another question, which is the last one. We have started year 9 with some IGCSE subjects, and I believe at the end of year 9 we will be covering around 20-25% of the syllabus. So if a student studies by himself and he want to appear in board exam at end of year 10 for 1 or 2 subjects, is that an option which school will resist, or is that something we can carry it forward?
We usually highly recommend for the students to do their IGCSE examination at the end of year 11, because the whole syllabus would be completed and the students will also go through mock exam 1 and 2. They will get enough practice and feedback. But if suppose anyone is in a hurry to finish anything in earlier, if they have worked out on their own and they are very, very confident the children will do well, then it is again an additional fee for the parents and additional work for the student to sit in. But this again one-on-one, if the parent is approaching us, sending us an email that during the examination time of year 11, my child who is in year 10 wants to join along with them to write the exam, we will consider. But very clearly we want to see in the mock 1 examination, which the child will not be writing in year 10, in year 11, we will test the child, whether the child is up to the mark what the child is claiming that I am ready for the IGCSE. Then based on the outcomes we will discuss further. But the strong recommendation is to complete the course and then sit for the examination.
Yeah, okay, that's fair point. That was, I think my question is answered, because it will ease out the load for students if we split it in, let's say, 2 parts, 1 or 2 subjects at the end of year 10. So option is available. Thank you.
When can I change the subjects? Like, what is the last possible time if I can change a subject if I need to?
The same question Ms. Rija answered a minute ago. We strongly recommend you to put your energy and thought, and like many of them said, plan backwards, because what you choose in IGCSE, you are going to carry it forward into 3 or 2 subjects in your A-level program. So when you are going to think that further, it's always good for you to choose very carefully, but out of some unforeseen circumstances that something comes up, then you can send us an email. But we will strongly say don't change anything in the middle, because from day 1 you hit the ground in year 10, the teachers will start with the syllabus and they will start trying to finish the syllabus, and also in the meanwhile trying to give you training, because in year 11 we focus more on practicing for the examination. So if you are losing even a week or 2, if you are going to shift to another subject, the 2 weeks syllabus will not be covered. It's already done. The teachers will keep on teaching from where they have stopped in the last week. So we will strongly recommend you to take your time and choose the subject carefully, and then you can proceed. At the end, we always see that if suppose you want to go into the field of medical sciences, the children have already fixed in their mind, okay, I want to go in medical sciences. So my university in another country, Europe or Egypt or in US, they are asking for 2 subjects or 3 subjects like biology, chemistry, in some cases mathematics, some cases physics. So they are already fixed in their mind. So whatever they are going to change, they will not change those subjects. If they change that, then their total field changes. So take your time. It's always highly recommended not to change any subject once you have decided. That's why we are doing it this early, so that now it is, I think it's February 18th or 19th, so you still till March 14th, almost a month's time to think about it. Yeah, thank you.
Are the options for Block C specific to this school only or for every school?
Each school has got its own program depending on the number of subjects they offer, and this is the options form for our school.
Hi, good afternoon. The deadline for selecting the subjects are mid of March, as you said, right?
Yes.
What if a student completed this session, the year 9, and on 1st of September, let's say the next year, year 10, he changed his mind that I need to move from one subject to another. Is there any possibility?
Yeah, just again the same thing. If there is any change of mind, we would suggest that it is not very advisable. It's highly recommended to stick to the same subjects that has been chosen. Like Ms. Shrija said earlier, everything, including the allocation of classes, teachers, as well as the groupings in the accounting, physics, all these parallel subjects, everything is done before we open the school. So before we close, we will finish everything, and everything will be set for the children when they come, including book orders. So everything will be done. So if we are changing all of a sudden, it will bring in difficulties in different other areas too. So you can take your time and choose slowly, and there's a month's time for you to finish.
Hi. Hi, sir. Sir, I just want to know this one, basically this syllabus side only. Basically, this student already started the syllabus from physics, chemistry, bio from this number 2 onward. Now, what is the school schedule to complete, suppose in 23 and 24? And what is the percentage on 24 and 25? Okay, well, how you are handling this course?
The curriculum, you mean to say?
Curriculum to complete this one.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's a good question.
Because some subjects like economics, accounting, we not see any notice or any email about this one, that this course is still students are studying in this school. Only we are focusing English, math and physics, bio and chemistry. What about if the students select this, suppose economics and accounting, this is still in school they are studying or no?
Thank you for that. We as educators, let's say people who are working as professionals in this field, we have mapped the curriculum. So we are quite clearly aware of the subject or the topics that the child is expected to do in year 9, which generally builds in the skills for the child to go into year 10. It is a very stepped approach. So all we are doing is using the IGCSE syllabus to build in those skills. It's not that we are only teaching that. The child is still studying the year 9 curriculum, what he or she is supposed to study in English, maths and science. Yes, we are not able to start any of those in commerce subjects because those are not the subjects which are chosen below year 9. So the way we do is we do around 20% of IGCSE skills in year 9 in the core curriculum, which is English, maths and science. Around by almost 60% to 65% is completed by end of year 10. And that is why I'm saying changing of curriculum becomes very difficult because the bulk of curriculum is taught in year 10. And remaining 30 to 40% is completed in year 11 by the first mock examination. That is, by the month of December, the entire curriculum is completed. After the mock examinations, the children are given examination skills training because that's bespoke entirely another area apart from the content which is taught. So it will be 20% up to 60% next year and remaining 30 to 40% the following year. I'm just saying a holistic number. I'm not going into the specific. So that's how it goes.
Just to add one more information to that, there is one Vision UAE, you might have heard about it, where the government conducts an examination called TIMSS and PISA to show where the education system or the standard of education system when compared to the world. So like you said that the core subjects, especially maths, English and science, are tested in those examinations. So the 20% of the syllabus in IGCSE, what you were discussing or what you are referring, is 20% of the skills that are needed for IGCSE, but the curriculum content is up to date, and at the end of year 10, students are required to do one examination, what we call it as progress test in science, which is again given by the, mandated by the government. So a child who goes totally into commerce stream may not have a science lesson at all, but still they are well equipped to write the progress test when it is given in year 10, because the concepts that is necessary, the basic concept that necessary to write this exam is already covered in that. So that is why it is the 20% and the skills of the exam. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. Actually, what is the process to seek the recommendation for the options from the school?
Recommendations, as in which subjects should you choose? The ideal person would be yourself first to do the background research on the university the child is going on. Like Ms. Anisha mentioned, just backward planning. First you go back into the countries probably that the child might go in, and then at least 1 to 2 university in that country of the recommended course, and then look at what the child's student's requirement for AS and A level would be. So children study 6 IGCSE subjects here, and they are allowed to choose a maximum of 4 A-levels and a minimum of 2 AS or A-level subject. And those specifications are mentioned on the university website. So for example, in some countries, when their child wants to study medicine, mathematics is not mandatory. Some countries, mathematics is mandatory. So that's a little bit of research that you would have to do with your child. And Miss Anisha, our guidance counselor, is available in school 24/7. You can book an appointment, or the child can meet her and sit and do that backward planning.
Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I would like to know what is the differences between the English first language and the second language.
For subject-related details, we have our HODs. If you can see around the auditorium, we have put in the names of the subjects. The subject experts are seated there. So if we have covered the questions, then you can move to the HODs. They will guide you in details about each specific subject.
What subjects do I need to study if I want to, what subjects should I take if I want to study medicine in the future? Medicine.
Medicine. Now, that's exactly what I answered. You have to first decide which country you are intending to study that in, and then in that country, which university, probably 3 to 4 universities, and then go and check on the website which are the subjects which are required. Majority of countries require biology, chemistry, and mathematics. Now, this is not every country. It changes from university to university. For more information of this kind, you will have to meet the guidance counselor. We also have a few recommended educational consultants who are not from GEMS, but we can recommend them to you, who will sit down and chalk out the entire plan for the child, including psychometric assessments, and let you know what is the best subjects to choose, which university to do. They would also help you with the budget and planning further. So we generally have these educational consultants who support GEMS schools, and we can send you the details if required. Please do write into us if you want their details. They're available in UAE, they come to your home, or you can visit their offices and have a one-to-one discussion about your plans.
So IGCSE is 2 years, year 10 and year 11. Is year 11 syllabus based on year 10, or both of them have different syllabus?
Okay, so year 10 and year 11 are totally different topics. So example, you'll have 12 topics. Yeah, yes. 8 would be done in year 10 and 4 would be done in year 11.
Okay.
And the exam, IGCSE, is for all 12 topics.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Now
so you basically, okay.
Are all MOE subjects a necessity to pass?
Yes, that is a requirement of the government. If you are going to be in the schooling system till year 11, you should pass Arabic A or Arabic B. If you are following Islam, then you should pass Islamic studies and UAE social studies. That is the requirement.
Just a question on top of this, same question on top of it. Are these ministry subjects they are taught up to year 10, or they continue in year 11 as well?
Till year 11.
Is it mandatory to pass Arabic to take any admission in university in UAE?
Again, this is something that is very subjective. For equalization, Arabic, passing Arabic is important. There are many universities who require the passing certificate of Arabic of year 13 from the school when you go for an application. Again, it is not every university. This is what you will have to do for individual university. When you go and check on their website, you can check. There are students who have not completed Arabic and have come back to school and did that before they got their university certificates. children have wasted a bit of time because they didn't have the Arabic qualification. Again, if you are intending to study in university, in UAE universities, certain universities mandate the Arabic passing. Some universities do not. So you will have to do that research and understand that yourself. However, in school, for passing, you have to complete Arabic successfully.
If we don't have further questions, our subject leaders are waiting eagerly to meet you. If you need any subject-specific questions, you can ask. Also, Ms. Anisha is here, our counselor.
And we also have 2 of our AS students who have chosen our school curriculum last year. One of them is a commerce student, one of them is a science student. They are here to answer your questions as well. So please feel free to ask your questions, and we are here to guide you further. Thank you so much for your time, parents.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, students. Thank you, team, for staying back today and organizing the event.
Teachers going by bus, the buses will leave at 4:30. This is for teachers.